Okay, I think we're connected.
Awesome. Hey guys.
Hey.
What's going on? Hey.
How's it going? What a fucking day. You guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
We're just trying to do our volume issues here.
I want to see something though. I want to see if I connect it to the Bluetooth, if it'll do the weird phasing thing. I'm going to try something really quick. I'm going to close if I close the app down, is it going to disconnect us from it? If I yeah, okay, never mind. Then I'm not going to mess with it.
I mean, if you want to set up that or...
Oh yeah, I might have it sit on that like last time.
Yeah.
Will I be in frame?
I don't know.
It should be. I mean, I can see my knees.
Oh, that's good. Oh,
sit on his lap, Daddy.
Oh,
it's a gorgeous knee. It's a gorgeous knee.
Hi.
He's got a gorgeous knee.
Oh god, that's just. Why am I the master of like odd introductions or like random walk-ins?
Well, cheers, you guys. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
If we can make this day happy, rest in peace, Mr. Eddie Van Halen.
Yes. Yeah. That was a shock today.
Yeah. That was a blow. That was a big. I'm sure we all have our favorite riffs and songs from the Van Halen family. Van Halen, maybe not so Van Hagar.
I stay away from Van Hagar, but yeah, I mean, there's still some good ones there. But yeah.
Well, why don't we kick it off with a little honor and remembrance? What are your guys' favorite riffs/songs from the Van Halen repertoire?
Oh fuck.
Well,
I'm not good with song names, but.
Go ahead.
I'll say, I mean, it's not EVH, but Hot for Teachers drum solo is badass. I love that.
I mean, obviously, Chris is the drummer. My thing is, when I was a kid, my dad used to play Van Halen so much, and like just Panama Jump, Running with the Devil, even like the covers that they did, like Pretty Woman, and I was huge Inks growing up too. So like, you really got me. And I was just telling them, like, their 2012 record that they just put out, like their last one, like As Is, Tattoo, like that record is, I think it kind of flew under the radar because, you have the old school fans and like the new school version of it, maybe people just really didn't catch on, but it's a really, really great record with, I mean, his riffs on there are some of the best that he's done, in his career. So,
totally.
Because it's the most recent, has a lot of special meaning. Because I still remember like buying it and listening to it and being like, Jesus, like these guys are back. Like this is awesome. You know what I mean? So that about sums it up for me.
I don't know, probably like Ain't Talking About Love. I love that how it comes in. That classic Brown sound that he has, and that on his guitar, and probably Running with the Devil.
That was literally what
I mean, that's just really.
Mine are Unchained and Dreams from the Van Hagar era. The one where they had the video with the Blue Angels. I freaking love the riffs in that song. It was awesome.
Nothing wrong with Sammy. Just I grew up with David Lee Roth, man.
I grew up with both. I grew up with both because I grew up in the 80s and the 90s. So for me, it was just like I like them both. There's songs I like from both eras.
I still remember my first two tapes were Van Halen #1 and then Hot for Teacher with 1984, and I was just playing those tapes back and forth every time, man. I love Hot for Teacher. Drum solo leading into it, then freaking Eddie's riff in the beginning of it, fucking iconic.
Yeah.
But rest in peace, Mr. Eddie. He's definitely going to be a blemish in the rock history, rock family, and forever put down as a rock legend. Inspiration for everybody out there.
Yeah. I mean, he changed the game, and I think he changed the way people thought about guitar to an extent and played guitar, and there was, again, like we were just talking about it a little bit ago, is there's only, these few names that you can think of that were commercially so successful with their songs, but also like as a player, and you have, your Hendrix, your Page, your Claptons, those guys, but along comes like Eddie Van Halen, and I think a lot of it too, I wish I could have been like a kid listening to Eruption for the first time, back when it like first came out. And I think that blew, like I was just watching Rick Beato's, like his YouTube that he just did, about, you know, Eddie, and just hearing people's stories about how that changed their mindset, you know, because you can only imagine like how guitar was like thought of before, you know, like I said, you had your 70s guys and whatever, and then all of a sudden Eddie Van Halen comes along and just starts shredding, and it's just like, what the, you know, what the hell is this? Like, this is insane. So,
even recording wise, there's a great interview with Joe Rogan and David Lee Roth, and he talks about their recording back then, how they do everything in one take tape, and they go back and layer it, and then they get a sound they like, and then they learn it and play it.
Yeah,
So
good.
Pioneers, man, just fucking pioneers.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
now you don't have to do the one take where you take your best take and paste it all over one track.
But we'll try to make this positive, keep it alive, and happy Tuesday again for you guys. Taco Tuesday, if Florida does that. I don't know if maybe it's a California
Yes, we
thing.
do.
Oh yeah.
I had taco.
Likewise.
there you go.
For dinner. Look at that.
I had a protein bar, so you know, don't really have time for the food today. But
Well, and thank you to Ryan for reaching out to me and whatnot and sharing your guys' music to check out. I was completely blown away when he sent me the 2 singles to listen to. I was like, holy shit, who are these people that only have 2 singles out right now? And I literally even showed it to another band I'm friends with called Them Evils, and I'm like, dude, you need to check this out. They're like, think of it as like Lizzy Hale, but in dominatrix form.
Awesome.
yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot, actually.
Like they're gonna stick a heel in your eye, and you're gonna like it.
Yeah.
I'm wearing flats, but trust me, I can get it done.
So, and I'm gonna be out there in a few weeks as well to catch you guys at Halloween show, cruising out to Florida for the first time, Orlando side.
Oh,
So looking stoked to see that.
And thank you so
We're happy
much.
that you're, you know, coming down. That would be so great. You know. So.
Well, it's like I'm in California, everything's still in lockdown mode, and I've been already traveling out to Nashville and Dallas and stuff like that to finally get a show. And California is going to be the last state to do anything.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, I'm curious what it's like right now for Florida. They've already been doing shows. They were the first state to allow kind of like open venue shows. How is it right now for Florida for these kind of gigs?
I think Florida's just over it at this point.
I think a lot of people, I think Florida has always, I mean, there wasn't like a lockdown, but it wasn't as strict as like other states. And we actually had a show like planned for like June. I mean, we had shows booked kind of like through the summer, but every time it got close, it was like, oh no, you know, and the bars did get shut down at a certain point.
Twice.
Yeah, twice.
Yeah.
But right now we're in phase 3. So essentially, like the governor said, hey, you guys can do, you know, everything's open 100%. I know the show coming up for us, you know, I know that there's going to be certain types of measures, and I'm pretty sure they're going to do temperatures and you know,
yeah,
masks.
temperatures and masks.
Yeah, I don't know about capacity now, because the other thing too, you know, that you have to think about is like clubs, bars, every business that's been shut down for a long period of time. You know, they need to kind of make up, you know, a little bit of like what's been lost. And so, you know, if everyone can be safe, I mean, we'd love to pack the house. You know, that's our thing, is, you know, but responsibly. You know,
Yeah.
You kind of want everybody to be safe and have a good time. But you know, we'd love to see as many people as we can get out.
Yeah.
And we definitely think, you know, now that shows are opening up, it's going to be, you know, I think there's a lot of people that are going to want to come out and just get out of their house and, you know, be social again. So
Bars were shut down for a long time.
Yeah, for a long time. And
Like 6 months.
we did have like quite a bit of like, we have leniency compared to most states, but there were still things shut down. Grocery stores were still closing early. I mean, you couldn't dine in, pick up only for a while. So I think now that we're finally at phase 3, people are taking it upon themselves to be more careful and more safe. So bars are open, but it's at no capacity. That's what it was just last year. So we're hoping that like people who do come out to the show, they stay smart and they wear their mask and they sanitize. And, you know, obviously a concert feels more like a concert when you're like close to each other, but you can still be in a room with people and not spread it by just wearing something so simple as a mask or just not touching other people's drinks and stuff. So right now we're fully open in Florida. It's just a lot of people are still being a little bit timid when it comes to getting out there and doing stuff. But
So like for this venue, are they going to be allowing standing, or is it going to be tabletop only?
I think we're going to have standing, and then there also is tabletop. And to what I've heard, they are going to limit it somewhat. So I don't think it's going to be 100% capacity. It's probably going to be at the 75 range. And masks are required, and they are checking out temperatures and everything. So we're waiting to see if we're going to have ticket pre-sales or if it's all going to be at the door, just because with ticket pre-sales, we might oversell, and then it would really have to tell people that already bought the ticket, hey, you can't
Exactly.
come. If you come to the door, it's first come, first serve. And then the people who really want to be there will be there first, and they'll really get to see it. And, we agree with what they're doing too. So.
Well, I'm excited to see how it is. It's from Nashville. It's a huge music capital next to LA, and it's like they were doing tabletop seating only, no standing room, limited capacity. In Austin, they were only doing it outdoors, no indoor shows, completely outdoors only. So it's interesting to see what states are doing to finally let these live gigs come back after, we've all been affected for so long.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing. I think the small bars are probably going to have like a little bit of a hard time, because Shovelhead and like Will's Pub, they're venues that have a lot of space. So like even if they wanted to pack it, people could still find like corners and areas where like they can see the stage but not have to be so cramped up in one area. Shovelhead, thankfully, is one of those places where you have space at the pool tables, you have space out on the stage area, and you have space at the bar. So you could literally be anywhere in that vicinity and still see the stage and watch the show. So that's really cool with how that place is placed up. So I'm excited for it. I'm just so ready I think we're all just so ready to do a show at this point. We're literally itching. Like our last show that got canceled, I literally was in tears, and I was like, this sucks. So it's just, we're happy to finally be back.
And it's a Halloween show, so
Yeah.
anybody's going to come out dress up.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
We're all dressing up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which was another reason I wanted to come out, because it was like, it's Halloween. I'm just like, well, California still ain't doing shit. I'm like, this is even a better reason. And it's small fucking world. You guys know Mr. Bobby Keller as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And he was saying, oh, hey, dude, when are you going to come out here? I'm like, well, I'm coming out there for the dev show. It's like, dude, are you kidding me? I'm going to be gone. I'm going to be gone in the cabin in the woods with my girlfriend. I'm like, sorry. But it's small world. I've noticed, is the rock community kind of in Orlando more like everybody knows everybody? Hey, you'll open for me and we'll open for you.
Yeah, the rock community here is it is somewhat small, and even though Orlando has kind of got a big scene, and I will say that there's a decent amount of bands, but like everybody in this band has been in other projects or plays in other projects at the moment, so it becomes that small network of like, hey, we're playing a show, or literally the first, I think, 6 months that we were a band, we didn't book any shows. Like, people just kept asking us, hey, do you want to play this? Do you want to play that? Do you want to play this? And, because we've technically only been a band since late 2019, when we first came out, it was just like, yeah, sure, we want to play a show, so we'll play with you, we'll play with you, we'll play with you. And, I think it all... it's full circle. It's a community. It's a network, and that's the beauty of music. It's not competition. We're all just here doing our own little thing, and the more that you can kind of get out there and play with your friends, the better time that obviously you're going to have. And it's also good too to get out and tour and play with bands that you've never met before and seen, because obviously you get exposed to something new, and then networking and communication is where anything grows. Whether it's music or business or whatever, or relationships. So the more that you get out there and meet people, and we're hoping soon, we'll have some word on some tours happening in the spring, because we were signed with 2 booking agencies, so we're like waiting for we're kind of like hoping one of them's going to come at us and be like, hey, we got this for you. But and that's going to be an amazing thing too, is just to get out and play with some bands that are from South Carolina or North Carolina or Pittsburgh or whatever, and just get out and meet people. So but yeah, Orlando is a pretty. I think every band pretty much knows every band here
Yeah.
for the most part. And like I said, I mean that's how like I kind of found you. Is I was watching Bobby Keller's interview with you, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like I'm gonna hit him up. And so that's just it. And, we've known Bobby for a while, and so that's just the thing. It's a good community, and especially here with our management company that we're signed to, MVK. They're based out of Orlando here, so they have a lot of acts that they've signed out of here, and then as well as all over the world. But they do a great job of kind of building a community as well, and that was one of the reasons why we wanted to go with them, is because it's a family. Again, it's not that like, oh, we're better than you, or a competitional thing. It's more of just like, let's build a network together and get out there and play music that we enjoy. So.
Which is another band I'm friends with that's out there called Common Vision. They're out of Orlando as well. And me and the guitar player are going to hang out. We're going to come out to your guys' show. So maybe I'll link you guys up. And if you guys like each other's music, see if you guys do a co-head show.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
For sure, man. Yeah. We're always.
But I guess it's a good segue into the dev. Like you said, you guys started off in late 2019, early 2020 with your music releases. So where did the name come from? What's it short for?
Desired evolutionary vision.
Yeah.
That's the intelligent, philosophical, meaning.
Yeah.
But the real version was, I'll let somebody else take that one. So.
To everyone's vagina.
There you go.
No, so what happened was I think it's 5 minds that have to agree to one name, and that name has to be able to describe the band well. And that's a bitch to do. Am I allowed to cuss? Can I cuss? I just did. So I'm gonna do it. But it's a bitch to do. And so John is always been really good when it comes to thinking of funny things or thinking of names. And so John and Ryan were going back and forth, and then everyone else is adding on names, and we weren't settling on one. And he just said the Dev, and we're like, what the hell is the Dev for? And of course, me and Ryan have this thing where we like to make everything more deep than it actually is. And he was like, I don't know, just destroying everyone's vagina. I'm fucking sick and tired of this shit. But then when we thought about it, I game, or I used to game. And so a dev is a developer for a game. So they create something. And then he thought of desired evolutionary vision. I mean, Chris was thinking of deviance because of the whole rock and roll vibe and everything. But it was really cool because we were able to just kind of take such a simplistic, straightforward name. And each and every one of us were allowed to put a spin on it. So to us, it all means something different. But if you really think about it, it all means the same thing in the sense that we're creating something fresh, we're creating something new, we're in control of it. And it might be a little odd or strange in day and age to go for the rock and roll route, or for just even doing music in general instead of just staying basic, but we're doing it. So that's for the most part what dev means. This dude randomly was pissed off and sick of our shit and then just thought of it.
And it's in the Hindi language, it means God.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. I mean, it's a weird correlation. I wasn't even thinking about. I didn't even know that. We found that out later.
Yeah.
That wasn't something I knew right off the bat. Oh yeah, it's Hindi for God. No.
Yeah.
So it could be a God developer in music. Put it all there as one big thing. But that's definitely unique, and it makes sense. It's you can put it in a sense in another band I'm friends with. David Silver, ex-drummer from Korn, his new band, Bias. Their name is Bias, and because everyone's biased to their own thing, you're biased to something. So similar to you guys, the Dev is different for each of you, but it's still one cohesion, the Dev.
Correct. And I think it's cool because we can grow with it. It can change as we probably change. And I mean, we're playing this now, but who knows how we're going to sound after be in 2-3 years. And the name itself has a lot to grow with. So it just sounded perfect. And we randomly did an open mic before our first show. And I jokingly just said it on stage, and then everyone agreed to it. And we're like, oh, well, I guess that's it. And that's the name.
Well, that was stuck.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So who initially started the band? Who was the Kickstarter project for?
So John and I were in a previous project here in Orlando that had seen some success to a degree, and we had been around. Like I said, everybody's kind of been in bands before, but John and I were. That project stopped in 2016. Yeah, and so we spent, a few years jamming, just kind of like, we don't want to give up, like I said, that project had, we had played like Kink Fest and like Earth Day Birthday and, House of Blues. So we had started to like pick up momentum. And so we just kept like looking and searching for people and like, hey, what's out there? Who's there? And I mean, we must have jammed with hundreds of, singers, drummers, other guitar players. And it was, what was it?
I'd say probably late 2017 was when we started. We had another band kind of together, and we had a lot of the songs that we're using now. But that band dissolved quickly. So in 2018, in June, is when we started auditioning female singers, and that's when we found Nikolai.
Yeah.
I think it was actually after.
You found us on Craigslist.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It was like a Craigslist.
It was really interesting.
Yeah, and then she ghosted us. And again, it was kind of like, so the courting process, with musicians, like I've played in bands in like Nashville and other cities where it's like an audition and you go up there and it's like, you're either going to get it or you're not. And you're nervous. You're like, holy shit, I don't know what's going on. Like, did I do well? Did I not do well? And for me, the one thing that I always wanted to kind of flip, the script, so to speak, on this is that it's not a one and done, like you can't be in a band with people just based on like one day of playing, because everybody comes in the situation a little bit like unsure of like, who are these people?
I was like very unsure.
Right,
Meeting
like
you guys at a freaking.
Like this warehouse.
I had to meet him at a warehouse at like 9 p.m. by myself. I was waiting for 3 tall tattooed guys, and they're like, "Yeah, we're the last room, the very back near the dumpster."
Right.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
Great. This sounds like a phenomenal idea.
As you're driving up there, listening on the podcast, Murder Mysteries. Oh yeah, cool. Yeah.
Right.
Honestly, yeah.
So, it's kind of one of those things where, I think we wanted it to be, hey, let's get to know these people, because we had such a long story short, with the last experience, the last band, like it was such an abrupt, like we thought everything was cool, and then like a management company came in and bulldozed everybody, and then all of a sudden everybody hated each other, and 2 people went one way and 2 people went the other way, and we're like, we thought we knew these people, like we thought we were like brothers, you know what I mean? And so the whole point was like, everybody comes from different backgrounds, styles, ideals, and like, so let's get people together who like, again, it's not a one and done. It's not, hey, do you know these songs or do you have anything? It's like, let's get to know them. Like, can we stay on the road with these people? Like, are we friends? Can we get along? Like, is this going to work out? Because I don't think anybody wanted to kind of just do this as like a weekend warrior hobby thing. We had serious, like, kind of goals and dreams and aspirations of us doing this. And, so that was like the process in my head it wasn't just, oh, this person's great, they can sing, like they're in, like, it's like, no, like, let's see how we get along. And like, so, yeah.
It was a long process. I mean,
yeah.
I don't even think we had the whole entire band really. I mean, technically the band that you're seeing right now, we weren't necessarily done until the middle of last year. Because I auditioned, I auditioned, and then I ghosted them for a bit, because even though I liked the way the band sounded, they of course had to like listen to other singers too. They didn't know it was going to be me. For that matter, I don't even think they were looking for a female front. So then when I came in, the first day, I don't even think I had any content. I just wanted to feel the vibe, because it's so hard to write a song or even have any kind of concept with the band if you don't know who they are, what they're about, and like the vibe in the room. Because I'm a very emotional writer. So I think me, John, and Ryan practiced about like 2 times. Then I ghosted them, and then by the 3rd time or so, I came back.
We're like, hey, anybody else interested?
So then I hit him back up, and I was like, yeah, let's just vibe. And I think we did 2 more practices until they were like, yeah, we really want you in the band. But then from that point on, we had to find the drummer. And we went through quite a bit. But the cool thing about the auditions, or like, I guess, trying out for the band, was it never really felt like a tryout. Half the time, it would just be a person comes in, sings, and then we would basically just play until we're like, so am I in? And then we like, shit, I get the bar. And that's pretty much what happened with Chris, and that's what happened with Barrett. Where at one point we were like, I think we're fully a band now, and then that was it. So it was these 2 friends that lasted for so many years was the reason why I was able to jump in. And then by me just chilling and hanging out with them, I joined, and then by Chris getting along with us, he joined. So like it was an audition, but more so we end up just becoming friends, hanging out and making music together. So that's, I thought was extremely cool. It's cool. It's chill. We're all friends.
Ryan and I have been playing together since 2012. That's when I started playing bass with Ryan. So we've been doing it for 8 years now. Pretty crazy. It's a long time.
So I'm going to put Nicole on a spot, and so we're having a Zoolander walk-off style, all right? Zoolander walk-off style, but with guitars and shredding. You have Ryan and you have Barrett. Who's going to win?
Oh, now. Ryan.
But what is it? It's a Zoolander shred off
style,
like,
shred off, yeah.
But what style? Like what kind of shred though? Because there's like blues shred, there's like metal, there's jazz shred.
We'll go.
Really
We'll go blues.
So.
We'll go blues.
Oh, blues? That's Barrett. I'm not gonna win in blues. I'm not a blues guy by any means. Like, I mean, I like blues, but yeah, I'm not a bluesy guy. So
yeah, I'm just a huge Ace Frehley fan. So I mean, that's where I get it from.
There we go.
I mean, you still haven't made up your mind. They decided for you.
I feel like probably, honestly, for blues, it would totally be Barrett.
yeah.
Was Zoolander the one that had like the no, that
Blue
wasn't
Steel.
Blue Steel.
Blue Steel.
Yeah, okay. So Barrett's very good at Blue Steel in it too. So like it would definitely be Barrett. If you go on her Instagram, you'll see that like he's got like his faces. I think he's actually more photogenic than I am when it comes to the camera because he knows what to do more than I do. So Barrett by far. No offense. I love you. I love you.
I agree with you. Because I like jazz, so like the blues thing for me is kind of just not my thing. So
I guess I don't know. It's not a competition.
So now with these two new singles you guys have put out this year, what is kind of like next on the playing field for you guys? So you have Queen of the Dam, correct? And that's got a huge, that's over 100,000 views right now on YouTube. Huge. That just shot, that's back in from March till now. That's huge. That is blowing up everywhere. And how are you guys processing that? That's a big, like, for just two singles, that's just taking spark.
yeah.
We got really fortunate. We're really fortunate, for sure. Because we released Broken Lies ending of last year, was it? Beginning.
May of last year.
Yeah, May of last year. So middle of last year, and that was our first single. And we decided to do a lyric video for that one just because the song itself is kind of interesting. It's not like a typical first release song, and there's a lot of breakdowns. So we were nervous for our lyric video to get good views, and I think that now is at like 18 or 19,000.
20.
It's at 20,000. Okay, so it's at 20,000 views on YouTube. So then when we were releasing Queen, we were hoping that we could at least double the numbers. We're like, okay, if we can just hit like 40K, I think we were really honestly pumped for like 35K. That was our goal. And there's always like a goal of like what you want to hit. Like, you know, the more you release, the more you want to like exceed yourself. So when Queen hit, I don't know if it was because everyone was stuck at home and was really sick and tired of the whole COVID thing already, or if we just hit jackpot and we have like the best people ever listening to us. But when we heard the numbers were at like 50K within the first month, I'm pretty sure we were all shitting bricks. It was a lot. And then even now, like looking on like Spotify and everything and seeing the numbers grow, because I love that song. And when I first joined this band, that was literally the time that I was writing the song and like hanging out with Barrett wasn't even in the band yet, and I was already hanging out with Barrett. So it's kind of weird how like the first song of all of us in there together and the song that really popped off was the song that like I was writing, finally getting close to these dudes. So it's a moment for me specifically, and it's my favorite song. I get to look sexy in a latex suit, so I'm not complaining.
I think it was pretty awesome, and it was kind of like, it's always like a pinch me moment. I mean, when like Alternative Press premiered that song, and you know, I think as a kid, you know, everybody knows about Alternative Press, whether you read the magazine or you know, go online or you see, you know, their Facebook or Instagram pages, and for them to premiere it, because they picked up on the first single too, and it was like one of their songs of the week, you know, and that was like, holy shit, you know, like you kind of sit there and you go, wow, like that's a song that I'm a part of. And same thing with Queen of the Damned, and they were just so awesome, and they premiered it, and I think that really helped to kind of catapult it. And
Yeah.
with that one, that was right around the time we were signing with MBK. So it was kind of like, this year started off so well for us. You know, like we signed with M7, and then we were about to release a single, and then we signed with MBK, and then it was just like all these like great things were happening, and then COVID, like the shutdown started, and we had already planned the release for March 6th. You know, so it was like we didn't really have a choice in the matter, and so we were kind of, I mean, me personally, I was a little nervous because I'm like, man, with all this stuff going on, you know, did we do, you know, should we have released it like later or earlier or whatever? Because you feel like counter to her point, you know, are people worried about COVID more so than they're worried about this new, you know, rock song that just came out kind of thing. But, you know, I think art, music, TV, movies, they provide escape and relief and release for people's everyday to day. And that's why it's important to have it. So, you know, it was just, it's really great to see the numbers. You know, I love every day checking our Spotify because you get to see like 100 or so or however many people are listening to it a day. Like, that's amazing. You know what I mean? To think that like our music is part of someone's day-to-day soundtrack or their journey, or, you know, where they drive into work when they listen to it, or like, you know, where they working out. That to me is like, it's the full circle, you know, because when I was a kid, I had my favorite bands that I would listen to that would get me through my day, whether I was feeling good or bad or indifferent. And so it's just great to like come full circle and have that a part of someone else's life, you know, and music that we do to inspire other people. But as far as like what's coming up, so we have one single that will be coming out probably the beginning of next year. We wanted to get it out before this year was up, but just kind of with the holidays and the timing of everything, I'm probably going to hold off till like beginning of next year. And then we're going to the studio in December and January to kind of record a bunch of singles, because what we've kind of thought to plan out is just release single after single after single. And they can get into it a little bit more. But, you know, when we do a single, you know, we want to make it like a big,
Full production.
Yeah, full production with art, video, you know, make it like this whole like color scheme, like this encompassing world. It's kind of like how, you know, vinyl was or CDs were back in the day, where, you know, you'd have the album artwork and you'd kind of really get involved with the band's world. So I think what we're going to do is to kind of, you know, hold off in between that release, is do some acoustic, you know, tracking certain songs just to release for like the holidays and stuff like that. And just kind of have something, you know, consistently coming out. So that way next year, after we're in the studio for 2 months, we're just going to have, you know, single after single after single kind of released. So
now with this whole game plan that you guys are doing, like you have this vision, you guys are going to be a kick-ass rock band, hard rock band. You guys already have the singles plan. You have the viewers. Now I did a feature. I had to do it because I was getting really irritated about a certain person who was, you know, a lot of videos are coming out saying rock is dead. And I needed to put something out, putting out points on how rock is not dead. Now I want to see on your guys' view on the current condition of the rock industry as a new band, technically a new band emerging into the scene, into the market, putting new singles out, new music on Spotify. What is your vision right now on the path of the rock industry?
I think it's coming full circle. I mean, there's a lot of rappers who have started getting into the rock game now. There's a lot of different music that's collabing with other genres as far as getting more towards the rock side. I don't know. I think it's making leaps and bounds, coming full circle again. You know,
Absolutely.
rap kind of held the crown of the game for a while, but I feel like rock is kind of coming back up again.
Yeah.
And it's noticeable. More people are starting to form bands and jam and go out and play live music. It seems like it's starting to make a comeback.
Mm-hmm.
And more people are getting into rock. You see, all the time I see on YouTube that there's people doing reaction videos to rock songs, and it's people from all walks of life, from all races. There's so many videos of African American people listening to Tool. It's awesome to see people just getting into all this music that's been out there for years and appreciating it and enjoying it, and, you know, not just being, oh, I only like this genre because this is what I was raised on. Now, people nowadays, I feel, with the internet, with Spotify and everything, have the ability to listen to everything from everywhere. There's so many bands that never had this opportunity in the 70s, 80s, and even the 90s and the part of the early 2000s. And it's great that we can get that exposure. If you look at our Spotify, we have people listening to us in Italy, Poland, Japan, Germany, all over the place, the UK. It's fantastic.
Australia.
Yeah, and I think what's really interesting is, especially during these times, we kind of like live in like a hashtag society world now. So everyone wants to fit like that Visco Camp vibe or like the e-girl vibe. And so everyone likes to be, I guess, cooped up in like one genre or like look or whatever. And during the whole COVID thing, we noticed our numbers going up because for once, just like back in the older days, like my favorite band of all time is System and Black Sabbath. And when Black Sabbath came out and everything, they were different and they were weird and no one wanted to bracket them into some kind of genre. Maybe obviously after on, they had their own genre name, but like when these bands came out, no one cared about the genre or what it was. They just did what they were good at and what they vibed. And so I feel like COVID, in a weird way, because we were all cooped up at home, we were more than interested to just find something new and something fresh. And rock and roll is definitely a thing that's been long living, and it's still extremely popular amongst many people. But these younger generations and even the older generations, they're starting to not just have to worry about what an e-girl listens to, but they're actually going on the internet and just listening to absolutely everything and making up their own mind. And I think that's probably the one positive thing, because I'm always trying to think a little bit positive during these times, that I've noticed with the whole entire pandemic was just that people were opening up their mind. I mean, you had like Machine Gun Kelly and some other rapper get back into the pop and like punk scene. You had Halsey doing like covers of blues songs. And you could really see that people were just genuinely interested because they didn't have many things else to do but really explore themselves and what they like. So I don't think explore themselves. But like I don't think rock and roll was ever dead, to be honest. I just really do believe that people were very fixated on what was popular and trending rather than constantly looking for new up and coming stuff. And so right now, as Chris said, we're probably just looking at the whole full circle where people are going to see more than just that pop and hip hop genre on the radio, but they're really actually looking for more. And I'm sure you've even seen it on your end where people are just a little bit more interested because, hey, it's been a while since they listened to their old Blink-182 album in middle school. Let's see what else is new out in that genre or in that scene. So I think it's fine. Everybody that does that, I just think that they don't have an open mind to it all.
I think what COVID has brought and really created new people and artists finding each other via Instagram and doing collaborations of cover songs together, or being guitar or vocal covers and doing something all the way across the world with somebody completely random. And I think it exposed people to creating new supergroup songs and bands like Jared Dines and Howard Jones are going to do an album together. Who knows if COVID didn't happen, would that have happened at all? You know, with a lot of these things of new music coming out, you know, you're having time to sit down and dedicate it to write music. A lot of musicians are saying, hey, now that we're not touring, yes, it sucks, but now we're not on the road so much. I have some time to really dedicate myself to creatively kind of flow out and do things as opposed to kind of rush it on the road and do everything in the chaotic mess of touring.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, there's a YouTube channel called 2 Minutes to Late Night, and it's a bunch of people from like Mutoid Man, people from like Baroness get involved with it, Mastodon, and they do covers. There's an awesome cover that they did of Boston's Foreplay and Long Time that was really cool. They have different vocalists. It's fantastic. I think, and there was one recently where Troy from Mastodon sang Holy Wars with a bunch of other people. I saw that on like Loudwire.
I saw that.
So it's pretty awesome what a lot of the artists are doing today with the internet and even just, you know, having the technology where everybody can get together and track at home and then, you know, send it off and mix it and then put a video together. It's pretty dope.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of good new music coming out in the next year or so from bands, you know, and hopefully Avenged Sevenfold will have a new record out too. I mean, I'm just hopeful, but
Hey,
you know, I don't think, you know, rock will never die. I mean, I think there's always a need for it. I think people will always want to have that emotion in their life, and it serves a certain type of depth and character, and whether, like, some people can say that rock becomes shallow. Like maybe if you say, you know, the early 2000s with like the Nickelbacks and style was a little bit more poppy and shallow, but it's still rock. And at the end of the day, it still has, you know, it still resonates with people. I mean, whether you like Creed or Nickelback or not, I mean, they were hugely successful
Creed is the
bands.
shit, right? Creed was
Somebody-
definitely better than Nickelback.
What's that?
Creed is definitely better than Nick.
Oh yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it always serves a purpose, and you know, I think the popularity as far as the commercial charts and all that may not be what it was 20, 30 years ago, but again, that can just be cyclical. And you know, like to their point about, you know, like MGK and people like that going into the rock. I mean, Post Malone did a whole, you know, cover of, you know, Nirvana songs. So I mean, maybe it's turning around, and maybe people don't want that slick pop song that's, you know, 2 minutes and 15 seconds anymore. They want something with a little bit more depth and live instruments. So you never know, but as long as there's people out there willing to make music and continue moving forward with it, that's all that matters, you know. And so,
well, now there's a lot more bands even with a female front vocalist as a front woman. You know, it's that kind of stuff is kicking up more so, I think, now than ever. Like, how do you feel, Nicola, as being, you know, a front woman in what was considered a male-dominated industry, and now kind of, do you see yourself being an inspiration for female rockers as opposed to somebody like Cardi B or anything like that?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I see myself as an inspiration, but like, you are right when it comes to the whole, like, there are more female fronts. I mean, I always loved like Beth Hart and like Roxette and stuff, so they were pretty much there. But I do think that there are more bands with like more badass female fronts. I mean, Lizzy Hale, for example, is an extremely badass chick, and there wasn't a lot of like Lizzy Hales and like in this moment, but now we got like Ginger, and then we have us, and then we were playing with, oh my god, what's Reason Defined and stuff. Yeah. I like Divided. So I think maybe it's the anchor. I think it's maybe just not necessarily more girls, but there's more badass chicks. Because for the longest time, we had the Pat Benetars and stuff, and we had, you know, the Stevie Nicks and stuff. But now we're getting a little bit more like rugged, and we're actually like hanging it with the boys, and that's what I think is cool. Because being little me and always listening to like System and Black, I didn't really have a lot of female vocalists unless I was listening to like Evanescence or Paramore that I really vibed to. And now there's like a lot of chicks from softer vocals to like hard, heavier vocals, even screaming. And it's really dope. I love it. I think it's the coolest thing ever. I personally, I'm not like a total like feminist where I'm thinking that there should be more girls than dudes, but I think it'd be really dope to see like a 50-50 vibe, or even just see bands where it's mostly chicks and maybe a male front. I like the concept of just changing it up a little bit, and I think it's really cool.
So what are you saying?
I mean, we're cool. We're cool. I want to see a band where it's all females and then like one dude up on top singing.
Yeah.
If there is any, that'd be really dope and different. Yeah. But it is really cool seeing more like female fronts like coming up, and I think it's awesome. Also, we're cuter, so I can understand it.
And it's also the vocal range has been, like you brought up Ginger. Tatiana's voice is completely next level. Just the way she can change vocally from just guttural tones to harmonic rhythm, and just like next level. I don't know anyone that can compare in that kind of range to her. But it is now. I guess a good question would be also is, do you think on the marketing? Because let's be real. Yes, everyone loves to make the rock music. Everyone wants to put out the music you love. But then there's always the marketing part to it. You know, that's always part of the name of the game. Do you think a female-fronted band has a better marketing value than the traditional four-piece?
For sure. I mean, I'm going to be completely real with you. I love latex and I love leather, and I wear it all the time. I wear it even if I'm not on stage. But another reason why I love it is like the reactions that I get from people. You know what I mean? If you do something and you like something and then people also give you positive feedback, you just keep on doing it, right? So, I mean, I know when I wear latex, it's not necessarily because it's the most comfortable thing to wear and on 90-degree stage under lights doing lots of movement, but you wear it because it catches people's eyes and it makes them watch. And then when they watch, they listen. So I do believe that having a female front or having that like little bit of a difference in a band, even if it's not a female or if it's just an interesting person, it makes something easier and more marketable. Because our music video got so many views and we were really happy with that. But if the music video wasn't interesting, I don't think people would go back and watch a second time or a third time. And I do think that maybe having a female front can make it a little bit more interesting and more marketable. But also, like you said, with vocals, I mean, girls, we tend to have a little bit more of a range when it comes to vocals, and you don't. I mean, back in the 70s and 80s, you had dudes that did the like the Dream On dude. Oh my God, what's his name now?
Steven Tyler.
Steven Tyler. There we go. But like,
No.
but like
Dream
the
On
Dream On dude.
The Dream On dude.
I'm horrible with names. You're gonna soon realize that I'm so fucking bad with names. But like, you don't have as many dudes right now doing like all those crazy vocals, while like chicks can totally fucking do it. So I think a mixture of having range and then having something cute to look at makes it easier to sell a band or sell a song. We're also more emotional, so we could probably write good lyrics. I don't know. I think yeah. I for sure think yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I would say the lyric thing is debatable because there's a lot of good poets that are men.
Yeah.
There's a lot that are women. I would say it's probably 50-50.
Yeah.
Where men and women can write, you know, it just depends on the talent.
But girls
level
have
of the
good
person.
comebacks, so.
right. But there's always marketing to everything that you
Yeah.
do, especially being in a band. So, I mean, it definitely like plays into it a little bit. You have to be aware of it. I don't think it's like an exploitive thing where we're just like, oh my gosh, just poster her everywhere. You know, it is a band, and we do write music together, and so it's not just about one thing or the other. You know, we want it to be a total like immersive experience from start to finish. But yeah, I mean, look, we're not gonna lie, we are aware of it. So, I mean, I think in any band, you have to realize that your singer is the forefront. So regardless if it's female or male, you know, that's the voice of the band. And a lot of times, you know, if you're just an instrumentalist, okay, well then that's the forefront. But, you know, the person who is singing and writing is telling the story, and the band is kind of like laying the foundation for the story. I mean, there's different dynamics and aspects and ways of looking at it, but they're always going to be out front. And, you know, and to be honest, like, you know, I've played piano and drums and guitar, but I can never do what she does. Like, I would be so scared to get out there and try to sing in front of people, you know, because I can hide behind, you know, my pedals or my amp or my guitar or whatever. So, I mean, in my hair, you know, I just bang my hair a little bit, but you know, they are, in a sense, kind of like leading the charge of the song, and you know, and the song kind of falls around the story of the vocals and the melody, and vice versa. You know, the vocals and melody do fit with the music, but yeah, you know, we definitely pay attention. Let's put it like that. I mean, and I think that's obvious in the way that we have like our photos and our videos and all that. I mean, it's not like we just get up there and just go, oh yeah, take a picture of us. You know, like we like to be involved with it artistically. So.
Now, I like to, you know, I'm a guitar enthusiast. I like to play. I love dissecting, and especially now in the digital age that we're at for recording, you know, the economy guitarist is a real thing, and economy recording, anyone can be recording something on their DAW, Logic, Appleton, whatever the fuck you have at home, and put out music, you know. SoundCloud musicians are now a thing, you know. So when you guys did these two singles and the next thing coming up, are you guys going traditional analog, or are you guys doing all digital?
So we record at the Audio Compound here in Orlando with Andy K, and he's our producer / engineer, and that's Andrew Wade's studio. So what we do, as far as guitars, it's going to be Kemper. So basically it's digital. I mean, we could set up like our analog equipment if we really wanted to. But it's not like we cut and paste. Like we pretty much play all of our parts all the way straight through. You know, the thing with that is I would love to spend time and, you know, setting up my Mesa, and I've done that before in other situations, but I think with Kemper and Axe Effects, the profiling has become so spot on to a degree. I mean, I think some people can still tell, and I had Axe Effects for, you know, about 6 months, and I still messing with it to, you know, could never get it so that satisfied me as much as a tube amp, as weird as it sounds. But and that was just me, you know. But I think that's how Andy likes to work with Kemper. Now with Chris and drums, I mean, he'll set up and he's playing for, you know, hours and hours and hours.
All day.
Yeah, all day. And so, but I think it depends on your producer and the studio where you're at. You know, if your producer's real comfortable with the Kemper and you trust that producer, and you're like, okay, well, this is how he's going to work efficiently. And, you know, if you're okay with not setting up your gear and this and that and spending all that time, I mean, you know, we've worked with Andy twice, well, technically 3 times, well, on three different songs. So, you know, and every time, you know, you build a relationship with somebody so they understand you, they kind of become like a 6th member of the band. And when they first were like, okay, well, you know, you guys want to mic up or you want to use Kemper? I'm like, oh, well, let's just see how the Kemper goes. And I mean, at the end of the day, you're still playing, you know what I mean? And like, you can tweak it a little bit and whatnot. So
yeah, and it really, I mean, who really cares about what you use? Like the fans, I really don't think the fans care what we're playing through, as long as it's a good song, you know, at the end of the day. And, you know, I think really us musicians are the only ones that really care. It's like, oh, that doesn't sound like a tube amp, that sounds like a, you know. So.
But I guess it's like coming to like, you know, the age of I'm going to buy an EVH. You know, I'm going to put down that $600, $1,400 down to get that, put it on top of my 4x12 Marshall amp or whatever the fuck. And, you know, are people going to, is that going to start dying off? It's going to be fossils for the way of recording music, as opposed to, cool, I can put everything up into my Kemper and just go play. Or I have everything I want to set up on my DAW, say I'm going to use it to get my, you know, digital plugins. I'm going to have my IR sounds how I want, get my cabs, get my 5150 IRs to play on there. And then when I go to producing, just hook it straight up without even having an amp, besides going off and touring.
I think that's not. I don't think analog is ever going to go away, because you still have a lot of producers and engineers that prefer to work with analog. So what you're going to find, I think, in the future is there's going to be niches. You're going to have your guys that are all about the Kempers. They're great in Pro Tools. They know how to work the magic and make that sound so perfect and pristine that it sounds excellent. And then you're going to have your old school heads, or even younger people that are just really into that analog sound and working with analog equipment. So I think it's just going to be a mixture of both. Like, we all run analog tube amps for when we're playing shows and in practice, but I don't have a problem going into the studio and plugging into something, as long as you can dial it into my Ampeg SVT sound. If you can get me as close to the SVT sound as possible, perfect. I'll bring my pedal board in and I'll throw my effects on afterwards. But I recorded last weekend with my other band, and we hooked up my 2 cabinets. We mic'd my 2 cabinets. We ran a DI in front of my effects, a DI after my effects, and he direct out at the back of the amp. So, you know, I mean, it's who you work with and what they prefer to do and what they want to take the time to do. If you want to go to somebody that's quick and efficient, you're probably going to go through a DAW or a Kemper profiler. If you want to work with somebody that really wants to dial you in, you're going to go to somebody that does analog stuff.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to come of age right now, and it's just like we're in this little split way of what's going on in music. More music's coming out faster than ever, and the way you're recording is becoming a lot more efficient than it was before. You know, you can pop off those singles, you know, every month if you choose to, but it's the like I said, the ergonomic musician is a real thing right now.
Right. Well, and I'm kind of, like I said, I'm fine with it going the route of, if I use my amp for live, but everything else is as quick and efficient as possible, then that helps out at the end of the day, because you're saving money, you're saving time, you're able to get more product out and get your kind of art done in a more timely fashion. So, I mean, me personally, as much as like I said, there was a little bit of pushback with Axe Effects and Kemper, I'm fine with using it, because like it gets you to, A to B without having to deal with C, D, E, F, and G problems, you know what I mean, that like occur. And so, at the end of the day, if the song is where it needs to be and everybody's happy with it, like they were saying, it doesn't really matter how you did it, as long as you got to that point and get there, and can get it out. But yeah, I agree with you, man. Like, there's this cross thing, but I feel like, to be honest, like, the people who are holding on to analog and like spending all that money on the equipment, they're going to lose at the end of the day, because people, if you can get it out efficient, and if,
and it sounds pretty
and it
just like
sounds like everything else that you could do with an analog, but the analog person takes 6 months to a year to get stuff done, then, I mean, who's going to win, So it's not a battle, but, I just, that's what technology is for, is to make life, quote unquote, better. And we've seen it grow You know, I wasn't around for like when Pro Tools first started, but you know, I can only imagine what it was like to be an engineer or producer, you know, when the transition happened from tape to all of a sudden here's this computer digital, you know, Pro Tools. It's like, you know, I couldn't even imagine splicing tape, you know, sitting there smoking cigarettes back in the day in the 80s, you know, splice the tape with a razor and clip it. I mean, it's like, it seems so prehistoric and so caveman compared to like now. And like you were saying, your dogs, like Chris and I use Logic, Barrett uses Pro Tools. I mean, so we're all on like different little systems, and it's like we can pop demos out left and right. And I mean, even on certain rehearsal days when we want to track like demo or, you know, ideas, I literally bring my MacBook, I set it up really fast, and then we track some guitars and we've got demos. I mean, you can't do that like any other way, you know. So,
and I'm probably going to piss some people off here, but if this technology was around when the Beatles was around, they would use it. They would be using it. Honestly, they would. I mean, because those guys, you know, they were always artsy and always, you know, wanting, so.
Yeah, I mean, so.
Who wants to do 5,000 takes to get like the perfect tape? You know.
Well, that's another good question. So it's like, this is that different of the musician back then versus the 80s, maybe even early 90s and stuff, as it was coming into the late 90s when we were starting to use more Mac bass and stuff for programs, that the musicianship back in the 70s and 80s and early 90s, you know, they made sure they were getting everything on one take. They weren't going to fuck it up. But now you can just keep going and doing whatever you want. That's where that crossover is, those classic musicianships where they make sure they didn't fuck up that first time. When Megadeth wrote Rest in Peace, they weren't going to fuck it up. They only had a certain amount of time they had to get it fucking done. But now you can just do it as many times as you want. Delete. Oh, redo. I forgot that part, and copy and paste it.
Yeah, but we still go in prepared. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, we're rehearsing up to the recording through the recording process, especially when we have whatever songs we're going to record. We're working hard on it because that's how we are as a band. I can't speak on any other bands, but for us, we make sure that when we step in the studio, we know our parts that we're going to play.
Yeah, and we also, for us, the studio is time and money, you know, so we don't want to drag out one song. We don't want to spend a week in the studio on one song. We want to get one song done in 2 days at the most, you know, so we want to come in, be efficient, you know, obviously people need to warm up, but, you know, we'll do like a pre-pro demo before we go in, and we send it in to them, you know, to Andy, and kind of, so he has a heads up and here's what we want to do. And so we have a pretty strong idea, like when we go in the studio, what the song's going to be. And there's always artistic kind of like jam inspirational changes, I think, that happen in the studio where you're like, oh shit, I didn't think about this, but like, let's try this, you know, for this part. But I think for the most part, we all kind of know what we're going to do before we get in there. And so that way, you know, it's kind of like a seamless process. So that way, if we do run into snags or somebody comes up with a new idea, it's easy to input it, as opposed to like, oh, well, we're not rehearsed. Like Ryan can't play this part and Barrett can't do that. You know what I mean? Because then that becomes that situation where the, you know, the engineer and Andy's just like, okay, cut and paste, guys. Like, let's just go. Like, because, you know, you're wasting my time.
What I was getting at more was like, you know, doing a whole take and then having to redo it because at one part during the song, someone hit an F sharp instead of an F. You know, like one person missed one note, and oh crap, now we got to do the whole entire thing again. You know?
Yeah.
But I think we all like doing takes, and like I know personally, me as a vocalist, we do our own demos, so like we always want to know what our songs sound like. And even though technically we could be there all day, I could have a full day on just vocals. We don't necessarily ever want that because we want our music to sound as close as possible from CD and on stage. So we do our own demos, and we do hone in on our song so much so that like if I do vocals on a song, it only should take me about like 2 to 3 hours max in order to do my vocals and then do like background vocals, any kind of harmonies and everything, because it makes you feel good too as a musician when you go in there and you know you're going to kill it, because there's a whole other vibe that comes on stage. So digital in itself does make it accessible for anyone to be able to adjust that F sharp or completely change the song and copy and paste everything necessarily if they want to. But for us, we like it more so because it allows you to have ease of mind knowing that you can adjust and correct certain things, but we kind of can tend to be perfectionists. So we're still that band that a week before we go in the studio, we're practicing 2-3 hours of one song over and over and over and over again. And I already have 4 different kinds of harmonies. It's just studio when we decide what harmonies we want, or maybe the little trinkets and stuff. So yeah.
Well, I'm seeing. I know they're going to kick us off pretty soon. IG has an hour cap limit. I found that out the hard way one time. But you guys were saying, Ryan was saying that you guys are going to be dropping a new single pretty soon. Or
Hopefully.
it's
Yeah, I was thinking.
We still have to shoot the video, promote the video, go through all the proper channels and everything. But yeah, we're hoping sometime at the beginning of next year, January, February, March era.
Probably January, February.
Yeah, January, February.
is there potential?
We'll probably let you listen to it, but you can't tell anybody about it. But we'll definitely share it with you when you're here.
It's literally done. It's done. All the art is like
Ready to
this
go.
close. The
Can I have
vibe is
a
there.
review?
It's
Can I have a
done.
review
And
ready
we're
for
just
it to
sitting
drop
here
for it?
waiting to get it all like just put in one and released. But it's a production. It's like just like Queen of the Damned. If you listen to it, you're gonna see the bad bitch in a latex suit. So with this upcoming song, you're gonna see a whole different vibe and a whole different view of music videos and whatnot. And the whole purpose of that is so you can really understand us more. And that's the only reason why it takes so damn long, is because you're really seeing like our baby every time. We have lots of babies, lots of them. We get busy.
We only want to give you the best of our art, nothing so
Yeah.
far. Yeah.
No, are any of these songs going to be part of your guys' show coming up in a few weeks?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got about like an hour, close to an hour
Yeah.
set. I mean, hopefully we'll be able to play as much as we can, depending on the set time that we're given. But yeah, I mean, you know, that's the other thing too, is during COVID, you know, obviously trying to get new material done and you know, just keep, you know, moving forward. So yeah, you'll definitely hear them. We may not tell you which ones are which, but yeah.
Well, little secret, there are Easter eggs to try to figure out which one it is if you follow our social media. We won't say when, where, why, anything like that. And just kind of look, watch, see how things are worded.
Dude, it's killing us. Like, it's killing us. The song's fucking done, and we're just trying to get it all gathered up, processed, and shipped out.
Shoot the video.
Yeah.
Yes.
We still have to shoot the video.
Yeah. But, you know, it's a lot of work, but it's work for good purpose. So, like, when people watch it and they say that they like it, or if people, you know, they connect with our songs or lyrics or whatever, that's all that it's meant for. It's worth it, even though I'm dying inside knowing that the song's done and I can't show it to anybody.
Soon. It's coming soon. Almost there. But, dude, thank you guys, all of you guys, so much. It was an absolute pleasure to talk to each of you. And I look forward to flying out to Florida. I look forward to seeing your guys' show. Finally, a live rock show that I can actually kind of stand at and be there and whatnot, and not sitting at a tabletop. I'm getting a little tired of sitting on my ass for a show.
Yeah, we're ready to play live too. We've done the virtual thing, and we're kind of like, it was great while it lasted, but let's move forward. Let's play live again. So.
But I will be seeing you guys in a few weeks, and fuck, we'll be cheering some beers and taking some shots.
Yes, sir. You know it.
Yeah.
Love the party. So, and it's Halloween time, so it's perfect. So
Great time to
That
get
too, exactly. Well, thank you guys again for your time. I'm gonna have this all uploaded, and because we did the rotation, so I'll have it like re-rotated and everything, and I'll have it uploaded to YouTube probably by Friday, and I'll send you guys a link. I'll have all your guys' Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, everything, including the over 100,000 views for Queen of the Damned on there. And then I'll send you guys a link as well to have your copy and all that good stuff.
Thank you. And thank you for
so
having
much,
us.
man.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us, man. Thank you.
Absolute pleasure, guys. It's been my fucking pleasure. Guys, enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night. Get some tacos. It is Taco Tuesday. I'm getting tacos. Fuck yes.
We got to jam. We got to practice.
Yeah, we're gonna rehearse.
Oh, okay, tacos after.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
See you guys in a few weeks.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Man.